What's up, y'all? It's Troy, and today I'm going to be talking about using Pulumi in a large-scale organization. Look, infrastructure management is all fun and games until you find yourself scrolling through 1,000+ resources in your AWS console. Worse, when one product team wants to use Azure and your data team wants to be on GCP, and you find yourself copying and pasting cloud formation templates into yet another Git repo, and all of your economies of scale start tipping the wrong direction. This needs to be a platform. And in that moment of overwhelm, you will be sold to, nurture emailed every week, and told all of your problems will be solved by implementing an internal developer platform, or an IDP, as the cool kids say. An IDP that will cost you a lot of money and a lot of time to implement beyond default settings. An IDP that really only solves half of your problems. Your internal team offers to build you something that feels more like welding together random pieces of code into an abstract found art sculpture built from junkyard refuse, already 5 years out of date. How long will this investment be useful before you have to start over? It's exhausting. If there was a good solution on the market, you wouldn't be watching this video. So let's talk about what you really need and how Pulumi can help. So what is an effective internal developer platform? There are quite a few listicles out there on the internet professing to authoritatively tell you the 5, 7, or 11 essential components of an internal developer platform. Personally, I trust our customers to tell us, and here's what they have said. Consistency. Bring some order to this chaos. As your company and your infrastructure grows, it gets more and more complicated to maintain that consistency. You might already have established design patterns that you want to replicate, but don't have any way to encode those practices in your current tools. There is a lot of copy and paste of reusable blocks, but there's no way to apply dry principles or to modularize or templatize the important parts. And you know what? All the parts are important. Reproducibility. Repeatable behaviors, who dat? If you run your deploy twice, do you get the same results each time? What if you replicate your production environment to create a test environment? Are they actually identical? How much more work does it take to get them to be identical? Will you get the same version of the training data set every time you run your AI workloads? It's anyone's guess. A lack of reproducibility slows down development, makes debugging more difficult, and makes that reuse we just talked about harder to achieve. Visibility. When your node count and user count starts to go beyond around 50 to 100 resources, whether those are computing resources or human resources, you quickly run into a problem of visibility. It can be very difficult to get a handle on what's happening, how many resources you have, where they are, and how much they cost. Any system that purports to be able to manage 1,000 nodes or more must have deeply integrated analytics, dashboards, charts, and be searchable across all of your clouds, all of your users, and every kind of resource. Security and compliance. Good fences make good neighbors, as they say. RBAC, policy as code, excellent secrets management, integration with your existing identity providers. These are the things you need to build security and policy guardrails you can rely on. Without them, it's just a powder keg of liability waiting to catch a spark. Auditability. What happened and who did it? This is like a high-stakes game of Clue. How quickly can you figure out who ran that bad deployment? Was it Colonel Mustard in the library with the candlestick? Or Blake, the new front-end developer with overly broad permissions in AWS? Being able to answer these questions needs to happen quickly. Quickly like in minutes, not hours or days. And it might have happened 6 months ago. Oof. Developer experience. In the ideal world, developers drive their own DevOps. The platform team provides self-service tools and streamlined workflows that allow your engineers to provision new resources, so your team doesn't have to do it for them. And you know, if the developers don't like their user experience, they won't use it at all, and they will invent their own tools. You will have rogue systems to hunt down and argue against in tedious, overly technical meetings. This is not what you want. We need to keep the developers happy to prevent this. Okay, so now let's talk about how Pulumi can help. Pulumi has a broad surface area of products and features that address all of these needs. Designed with integration in mind from the beginning, our tools orchestrate well, presenting a smooth and streamlined workflow for both operations teams and developer teams. We have an idea of how you can use all of the Pulumi products together to deliver a comprehensive internal platform for security, infrastructure management, and deployments. Call it an internal platform for developer platform engineers, an IAPFDPE if you want. We call it the realization of a vision that we've been working hard to build for many years. The Pulumi Patterns and Practices Platform, or P3 as we're calling it, is a reference architecture that we will be describing and providing code for through this series of videos. We will be diving deep into not just what you can do with our tools, but how to do it and provide code for a reference implementation that you can use to jumpstart the process. Here's a quick overview to give you an idea of how we'll be addressing those needs in the Pulumi Patterns and Practices platform. Okay, so our first point was consistency. Pulumi can help bring consistency to your software catalog by encoding design patterns into reusable component resources and by building organization templates that provide a no-code or low-code way to start a new project. Templates help get projects off the ground faster and ensure consistent code structure, policy compliance, and best practices. Beyond that, because Pulumi is multi-cloud, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, etc., and multi-language, JavaScript, Python, Go, C#, Java, you can enjoy the same consistency across all of your environments and all of your developer teams, regardless of the languages they prefer or the cloud tooling that they need. Another core aspect of consistency is drift detection. Pulumi automatically detects and remediates cloud resources that have deviated from the expected state stored in Pulumi Cloud. Let me tell you, this tech is better than ibuprofen at getting rid of developer-created headaches. Our next point is reproducibility. Since 2010, scientists have felt that we are in a crisis, a reproducibility crisis, wherein in the general science world, we cannot easily reproduce experiments in order to verify the published results. Similarly, the software industry is entering into a reproducibility crisis of its own, especially around AI training workflows, where it is increasingly difficult to recreate crucial build and production environments, especially around training large-scale models. Pulumi Stacks makes it very easy to manage both configuration and state across multiple environments, and make reproducing a deployment within Pulumi a matter of a few basic operations. You can use Pulumi programs to capture all of the necessary resources for an AI training workload, including things like version data using dynamic tables with time travel functionality in Snowflake. That means you can be sure that not only will your deployment be on the infrastructure you need, it will also have the exact version of data every time, which is essential to A/B testing and debugging your models. The next point is visibility. Every resource under management by Pulumi is visible within Pulumi Insights. From this single pane of glass interface, you can search for resources across all cloud environments. Pulumi Copilot provides a state-of-the-art AI chat interface to ask complex questions and get immediate results. Pulumi Insights Analytics gives you the ability to identify anomalies or trends in resource usage and dig into cost, security, and compliance concerns. Speaking of compliance, security and compliance is the next major point. In the modern parlance, when you say DevOps, you mean DevSecOps, because these days, nothing happens without security at the beginning. Pulumi is designed to be secure by default. Pulumi Cloud offers full role-based access control functionality, including deep integration with GitHub Teams and SAML-based SSO, managed secrets, and flexibly defined secure environments with Pulumi ESC. It also offers policy as code provided by Pulumi CrossGuard. Most importantly, all of these features are deeply integrated across the platform, creating an airtight system with all of the guardrails you need for managing security and access. Another major point is auditability. Every action a user takes in Pulumi can be tracked via the audit log, which is searchable in just 2 clicks from the Pulumi Cloud homepage dashboard. Audit logs can be filtered by user with just one more click. Creating automated backups of your audit logs is a first-class feature. You will never have to worry about responding quickly when somebody asks about an event that happened in your system. Also, each deployment and update has logs directly visible from the Pulumi Cloud app, regardless of how it was initiated. And last but not least, developer experience. Developers, developers, developers. Probably the most compelling aspect of Pulumi is the developer experience. Developers love Pulumi because they get to use their preferred tools. General purpose programming languages, visual IDEs, command line tools, and products with an API-driven architecture are what developers want. And it's what Pulumi delivers in spades. With Pulumi templates and custom internal component resources in place, developers can drive their own DevOps, provisioning their own infrastructure resources, and managing their own deployments directly, reducing bottlenecks in platform teams. Product engineering teams can self-service with a streamlined workflow that stays compliant with company policy by default. Deep in the code of their favorite programming languages, your developers will never even know that they are following company rules. So this is just scratching the surface, and there's a lot more to come. Now that we've made a case for how Pulumi can be applied to meet the most pressing needs of a larger organization, hopefully you will realize that the Pulumi Patterns and Practices Platform, or P3 as we're calling it, is a reference architecture that is more than just infrastructure as code. P3 is a Pulumi-powered platform for teams, where your developer portal is not just a catalog of software, but a fully functional control plane across all of your cloud environments. Stay tuned for the following series of videos where we will use Pulumi to implement the P3 reference architecture for a fully featured internal developer platform, IDP or IPFDPE if you prefer. That said, you may already have invested in some popular cloud-native tools like Backstage or Kubernetes. Pulumi plays well with others, and you will be delighted to see how you can use Pulumi to cover the gaps in the CNCF ecosystem. And if you're already ready to get your hands on Pulumi after this introduction, feel free to create an account and follow some of our getting started guides and see how easy simple use cases are and begin to imagine how that same developer experience will scale up to your entire organization. Thanks for watching. Check out the links in the description for more resources, including all of the products I mentioned in this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back with more videos to show you the many ways that you can upgrade your infrastructure management with Pulumi. See you next time.